Hi guys, this is Jacqui Cooper with JCooperTravels, and today I have a very special guest. She's a mayor and she is in Washington State. And before I bounce over to her to talk to her and welcome her in a more formal way, for those that might be new to my podcast, JCooperTravels, I just want to share a little bit about me and the vision for this year. My podcast actually is all about our personal journeys in life as well as where we go geographically. So I have traveled around the world and I love traveling, and we'll be talking about different locations such as, Washington State and all the great things for the city that we're going to be talking about. But it also is about personal journeys. So in the podcast, we might talk about people, health, wealth, finance, and more. So today I have Dr. Robinson, Mayor of Bellevue. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jacqui. Thank you.
So I always like to talk about the personal stories first. So how did you become a mayor of such a prominent city? And it's, for those that might not know, it's located close to Seattle, and it has a lot of wonderful things that it offers for visitors as well as for those that live within the city boundaries. How did you become the mayor?
It was a lot of steps along the way. I think just having a passion for my community and a love for Bellevue, and just the first experience I had with Bellevue was raising my family here. And along the way, I became involved in various organizations. And when I was Garden Club president, I was tapped by a land conservancy group to help them get the city to conserve a big section of neighborhood where I lived and turn it into park and trails instead of condos. And so that was my first venture into city government. And that is now the McTavish property trail system that everybody really enjoys. And I was so excited at the experience of working with a responsive government that I kind of wanted to be more a part of that, and just ended up here, I guess.
So what's your background?
I'm a physical therapist. I have a doctorate in physical therapy, and I've just always been a physical therapist.
And what made you interested in the gardening and the land and just preservation and the whole environmental area?
It was just more an opportunity. I really love nature. I love hiking. I love enjoying what's right outside your door and appreciating the beauty that surrounds you. I tend to prefer that than going somewhere else to find that. And so the thought that you could have this beautiful trail system just down the street was very compelling.
For sure, for sure. So with your background in service and with what's going on in the community, what, for people who might be visiting your city, what are the highlights that you would suggest that they really check out and enjoy?
Well, there's a variety of things to enjoy. I think what's really attracts people to want to be in Bellevue is, when you look at population health and what gives you a high score there, Bellevue ranks as one of the highest in the nation in population health. So that's not just access to healthcare, but it's clean water, clean air, high public safety, access to parks and green spaces, and multimodal transportation options. So Bellevue has all that. And in addition, if you like shopping, we have one of the nicest shopping malls. And during the pandemic, we have a mall that's pumping in fresh air and has, followed all the guidelines, has been very successful throughout the pandemic. We have many different restaurants. Because we're such a multicultural city, that is reflected in our restaurants, in our arts, in our music. And so everybody feels welcome here.
So do you have, I know different cities have different festivals and they have different time periods that they highlight. So with Bellevue, what, when, is there a certain area that you kind of want to share and let people know about?
Yeah, I think the Arts and Crafts Festival is a national draw. If you're into arts and crafts, the entire downtown core shuts down along this from the parking lot of the mall, all around it, and along this pedestrian promenade, all shuts down. And we have artists from all over the world displaying their art. And there's food, there's music. It's really lovely.
When does that
Yeah.
normally happen?
I'm trying to think. I think it's late July.
Late July. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So,
And then if you like music, we
yeah,
have some really incredible music festival called Wintergrass. And it's country music, and that attracts people from all over the world. And it happens in one of our luxury hotels, and they get full run of the place. If you want to sit down next to the elevator on the sofa and start playing on your banjo, you're welcome to do that, and people are welcome to come and listen. And they have, in every ballroom, they have people playing music and people talking about music, and you have instrument makers, and it's just an amazing one-stop shop for country music.
that does sound remarkable. I love country. So another area of interest to me is also sustainability and the environment and all, you know, that is involved with that. How's the city, what's the city's philosophy and view in terms of recycling and everything else like sustainability?
Yeah, well, we contract out for all our recycling needs, and so we're kind of limited by what that company can do. And
Mhm.
everybody is challenged right now with recycling because they need to change what we were doing before when we were shipping it all off to China to take care of for us. So we're in the process of rethinking what we can do with our recycling and trying to get it more successful, because it's very hard to get everybody to do empty, clean, and dry recycling. And just one piece that's not one of those three things pollutes the whole batch. So we're doing a big educational effort. But the city passed just last month a big environmental initiative, and we put funding into um, implementing it, but also hitting some high goals as soon as possible. So converting all our fleet to electric.
That's great.
Mhm. And all our council member packets are all electronic now. They used to be all paper. Um, it just there's changing all our street lights to LED and things like that. So we're going through a big shift to do as much as we can, and also put in building codes that really encourage more of a green development, which actually is happening anyway in Bellevue, thankfully. We had just had a major building completed in the Spring District that's all a passive building, and it's just beautiful, and we'll have more things like that.
That's wonderful. That's definitely something that I am thinking about trying to highlight over this next year with additional podcasts. And for those that are listening, we are going to be doing continuing conversations to talk about everything exciting about Bellevue. So definitely like and subscribe to the podcast so that way you can learn more about the parks and the hiking and all the wonderful areas that you can explore. What I saw that when I was doing a little bit of research, you have museums. You have a variety of museums, and then you also seem to have a lot of technology companies that seem to be, in your area. So, do you want to talk about those two areas?
Sure. So the museums, we have two major museums. We have the Bellevue Arts Museum, which is just fantastic. The displays that they have, and they're changing them every month, are consciousness raising and interesting. And I'm always drawn to their exhibits because I know I'm going to come away with some increased knowledge of something or a new revelation. So I definitely recommend it. It's in a very architecturally significant building as well. But we have a wonderful children's museum,
Mm-hmm.
and that has been such an attraction to our residents, but also to tourists. That's just a really, it's always very family friendly. So I think families, there's something for everybody here. One thing I don't think I mentioned, we have more parks per capita than almost any other city in the country. And they're well maintained and they're safe and they're beautiful. And you can, go to downtown park and have this beautiful setting in the center of all these high rises with the sun reflecting off them and water, all around you. You can go down a block away and be at the beach and at the Maidenbower Beach Park. And that is absolutely beautiful. And that is a full universal design park. So regardless of your mobility, you have full access of that park and the same entrance and exit as everybody else. And then, if you want to go hiking in Bellevue, we have, gosh, a handful of these trails and green spaces that you would never know you were in a city. It's just full of trees, some old growth trees, and these beautiful trails and views. And, I love going there in the fall and seeing the colors and the birds, good bird watching here. So.
A lot of nature, definitely a lot of nature. What about the tech side? I don't want to forget that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we did an analysis of our economy in Bellevue and found that IT is just a major part of our economy. And before COVID, they thought that might be a bit of a problem. And it turned out to be our salvation during this pandemic. So yes, we have a lot of innovation here, a lot of technology. We have major companies, but we also have a lot of startups. We have a lot of people collaborating together to come up with these great ideas. We have 47 corporate headquarters here in Bellevue, and a lot of them are tech companies. So people like to be here, their employees like to be here, and it's really fun. I go to all the tech fairs every year and see the new technology emerging, and it's wonderful.
I'm always fascinated with technology. Being in the special ed area, I can see so many things that are helping people, with the new developments. And like you talked about the accessibility. So I'm super excited about all that. And then I just know that, with us being more virtual now, technology has helped us with all that. So the creativity and technology. And what I love about Bellevue is the fact that there's a nice balance. You can have an outdoor life, but you can also do other things, creatively. And
you can ski on the snow or the water within a half-hour distance, which is amazing. Exactly. Speaking of accessibility, one thing I didn't mention, we have a wonderful new children's play area at our downtown park that we call Inspiration Playground. And it's designed for developmentally disabled children or parents or whatever, anybody, and physically as well. And it's got a tactile wall. It's got swings for wheelchairs. It's got, the whole park is designed for people of any ability to play. And if your parents have mobility challenges, it's easier for them to be there as well. And it's been so successful, and it attracts all kinds of ages and types of people there. I see so many teenagers at this park at night, and I just wonder if our teenagers aren't craving some of the stimulus from spinning and swinging and everything that they're not able to get otherwise. It's interesting.
Yeah, that is. While I'm listening to you, I'm just in awe at the standard that you're setting and the model that you're providing for other locations to follow. And so, I mean, that's really exciting. And I'm always appreciative of, women who are also leaders in the field, such as yourself. So I'm really grateful for you taking on that role and being a role model for others. So thank you so much for that. So I know that, for those that are listening, I'm going to be dropping links into the bottom of the podcast and the YouTube. So that way you can kind of explore remotely right now. And then we're going to have other podcast conversations about places to go and how to explore within Bellevue. Bellevue. Any last minute thoughts that you can think of right now that you want to share to the listeners on our first podcast?
Oh, I just, I really appreciate you highlighting Bellevue, and I welcome you to come and visit and spend time here, whether you want to shop or relax or come alone or bring your whole family. I think it's a wonderful place to be, and it's a good jumping off spot for many other nice places as well.
That's true. And these days, it's nice to be able to take road trips locally. And also, we're all looking for wellness travel and places to just kind of have a respite and refresh. And definitely from everything that you described, it's like a little magical oasis of where you can go and just kind of feel the beauty and the energy. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Jacqui. Take care.